I play 104% tariff on Chinese goods. Well, I play my card that adds a 50% tariff on US goods, making my total tariff 83%. Well, I play my card that raises the tariff on Chinese goods to 145%. Well, this card adds another 41%, making the total tariff on US goods 125%. And you've activated my trap card. Restrictions on US companies and exports of rare earth metals. But wait, there's more. It also allows me to sell US treasuries. This is the part of the episode where they cut to commercials, but eventually the show comes back, more cards get played, and somebody wins. So I'm sure you see how ridiculous this tariff situation is getting, and it's gotten to the point that China has said they will not continue to increase tariffs in response to the US increasing tariffs. And they're citing it's becoming a bit of a joke at this point. Oh my god, China said global economic policy is a meme. Of course, that didn't stop them from doing other things outside of raising tariffs as a result of the changes in policy, and that got me asking questions. But the one I want to focus on, where is this whole thing going? Because Marvel and Disney teamed up a while back to make all these movies with all these storylines just so they could tie them all together in a literal endgame. There has to be a conclusion to this event. They can't keep making these movies forever, right? They might actually be able to make these movies forever. Hi, I'm Raj. On this channel, we talk about money, and I'm exhausted. It's been a flurry of news event after news event after news event, and the thing that's going to make people really successful in this day and age is the ability to filter out information and only take in the necessary. So I wanted to make this video to help do just that and explain where I think the tariff war is ultimately going, because it's pretty easy to get lost in the sauce. So let's get to what matters. Trump, in his first term, had imposed tariffs. This isn't a new concept for him, and the general idea is that this makes things made outside of the US more expensive for US buyers and would push consumers to buy from American companies. Maybe US-based manufacturing would increase as well, although the general thinking is that this would take years to actually implement. Now, in Trump's second term, more tariffs are on the agenda, and this has led to uncertainty in the markets. And let's be honest, some people are making this out to be a game of chess, not checkers, 4D chess even, but it's really more like a game of tic-tac-toe. But instead of one person winning, losing, or just a draw, the board keeps getting extended and more moves keep getting made. I really hate tic-tac-toe, by the way. It's a very frustrating game. It's at this point we all realize the goalpost for winning keeps moving, like how they keep extending deadlines for tariffs. But remember, this all has to go somewhere. So endgame number one, let's just rip the band-aid off. Total economic and global disaster. I'm talking like end of days, wasteland, apocalyptic future where society completely falls out and the survivors scrape together some kind of a living in basically a new dark age of humanity. You've seen The Last of Us, The Walking Dead, Fallout, that one weird dream sequence Batman had. Give me the Snyderverse. Oh my god. Before we get carried away by doomerism, the word of the day is incentive. No one is incentivized for this insane scenario to play out. So it's unlikely, but it is a possibility. So that leads us to endgame number two, an economic stalemate. There is a very real chance that all this activity leads to more expensive items across the board where the consumer pays a premium for things made outside of the US. And the difference in cost goes to the government because a tariff is a tax. There's not a lot of incentive for this scenario to play out either, but it feels like nobody wins here, but this is also a possibility. And then there's endgame number three. Things get bad enough where the existing economic incentives force everyone involved, mainly the US and China, to come together and find more favorable terms. And this is the gambit. They call him the Channing Tatum. The roll of the economic dice we're experiencing. The thing that a lot of people missed is that right now might have been the last time the US will be in a strong position to make a move like this. Because today, the US is the #1 consumer of the world. We are the world's largest buyers. This is a key point of leverage because projections are saying that this might not be the case in the next decade. China and India are set to have significantly more population growth in the next few years, and that means the US could potentially lose its hold as the #1 consumer, or at the very least spend less in proportion. Combine that with the concern that we don't make a lot of stuff and we don't have a lot of infrastructure ready to go to meet demand. If a sudden shift of the global market supply chain were to happen, that is obviously a problem. If endgame number 3 is the true goal for the current administration, it's a bit of a now or never move. It's a risk because total fallout is a slim possibility, but more importantly, we will experience a period where everything gets a little chaotic, which is right now. And that's just how change works, and nobody likes change. This whole thing might be a short-term pain for a long-term win, or could lead to something much worse, or we just end up paying more and nobody is better off. If you're in the camp that international trade wasn't in balance and a renegotiated was needed, some incentive for other countries needed to happen first before anything material could develop. In other words, the US had to play a card, then another card gets played, and another card gets played until endgame. We've been here before with the Trump presidency. From December 22nd, 2018 to January 25th, 2019, Trump presided over the longest federal government shutdown in history. He did not budge on one key issue, and that was the funding for the Mexican border wall. But remember, that was 5 years ago. The government eventually went back to work. That series of debate and negotiations back and forth eventually ended. Since a large majority of all these tariff current events are out of my control, I'm gonna pop some popcorn and enjoy the show. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll see you in the next video.